extra credit space in your daily schedule in high school. You need 2 years of the same foreign language. So taking it at Hebrew High on a Tuesday and also Thursday for Hebrew students, evening, and I have some flyers in the back if that's interesting to you, opens up the schedule. I did it myself and was able to, and then I went to Israel during high school and used the skills and had a little extra time in my schedule when I was a junior and senior because I took time in my classes. So Hebrew High has that first hour either as a grade level seminar where you're meeting with 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th graders from across all different Jewish spectrums of life. And then the second hour is an elective, and we have all kinds of classes, cooking, we have art classes. I know fall we're going to be having a history of anti-Semitism class because that's been a real curiosity of where does this come from and what tools do we need in order to face it. But I think you guys just had a big program on that as well, so continuing that conversation if that's interesting to you. And then through the entire year, all kinds of programs, color war, Maccabia games. We have big scavenger hunts that take place in the entire JCC. We have different types of classes and things that teens can actually get involved in and learn as well. But what's really exciting is we've got about 50, 60, 70 teens that are already active in Hebrew High, and the invitation and building the bridge to Temple High to join us on these Tuesday learnings to be a representative of your community is really a message, I think, to our entire broad community, that we are interested in bringing all of our teens together, building a Jewish teen life together, and giving them an opportunity to really experience Jewish life on a broad spectrum. We have classes on comparative religion, so we'll have someone who runs a mosque, an imam, we'll have people part of the Mormon church, and our teens get exposed to all different types of Jewish life as well. So that's on Tuesdays from 7 to 9, and again with an additional opportunity for Hebrew as foreign language. I do have somebody here in the room who's part of Hebrew High, and he was telling to me that it's become a real highlight on his Tuesday night. Do you want to say, let people, if they have any questions? All right, great, it's cool, no pressure. But especially if you might be a teen in particular who goes to a school and you're not really sure who your Jewish people are, knowing at least once a week you have a place where you can not only see your Jewish friends, but engage in conversations that are more than, surface level things, like meaningful things. How do we deal with this? How do we take care of some of the issues that we see in our country and in our world? I will also tell you that once a month we also have a volunteer program. Our task force, Teen Advocacy for Social Change, can volunteer out in the community on every second Sunday. So we are actively feeding the unsheltered community. We are making goodie bags for people who are looking for asylum here in this country. So every second Sunday we do have opportunities to go out and make a difference. And if that's all you as a teen would like to participate in, that is also available for you as well. Should I do questions, or
Sure, yeah.
Do you have questions, thoughts, reflections, anything that I can answer about that for you? Does it seem of value to be able to meet teens from across the valley and engage in conversations about Jewish identity? Good. I will also say that anybody who participates at Hebrew High is eligible for a generous scholarship to study in Israel during their high school. And we have opportunities to learn about what those programs are, but we love to give scholarships to make sure that kids can really go and spend a semester or several weeks in Israel if that's of interest to you as well. And I'm around, so I really look forward to seeing you. I know that once a month, I think at Temple High, teens will get to have a special dinner with your cohort at the J before the classes, and then confirmation class will happen in the spring for the sophomores at Hebrew High. So if you're a 10th grader this fall, you'll be sure to register so that you could be a part of the confirmation class. Great.
Thank you. So just to, in case there's some confusion, in the past, well, years and years and years ago, the Hebrew High program and our high school program was one and the same. And it, for various reasons, many of the Reform synagogues at one point years ago pulled out of the Hebrew High program and decided to do their own teen programming within their own synagogues. And that's what we've been doing for years, and it's been working out very well for us for years. Rabbi Funky came in a couple years ago and has really done amazing things with the Hebrew High program, and we've kind of sat back and watched to see where it's going before we decided, oh, maybe we'll dip our toes into this a little bit. And I'm constantly amazed with what I see happening there on Tuesdays and Thursdays also, but mostly Tuesdays is what I'm paying attention to. The opportunities that Rabbi Funky has provided for teens is amazing, and so much, it's what we would like to offer our teens here at Temple High, and we don't have the resources necessarily. And we don't have the community of the J and of all these other teams coming together. And so we've decided this year, in lieu of doing our own teen education program, we are going to encourage our teens to be a part of the Hebrew High program. So Temple High's 9th through 12th grade programming is taking place this year at the J on Tuesday nights from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. I'm very excited about it. I think that as someone who has a teen myself, I'm very excited about the potential that she has to interact with other teens in the community, and this wealth of activities and events and teachers that our teens will be exposed to it's something that we are, we've thought a lot about it, and that we think it's going to be something amazing for our community. And we do hope that as we join, some of the other Reform synagogues may join in as well. As we know, a lot of you have friends who are part of the other Reform synagogues, and it would be wonderful to be able to have everybody again together on Tuesday nights. This is kind of a step in that direction. And we have complete, not only confidence, but excitement in partnering with Rabbi Funky and making this experience amazing for our teens. So it is a new venture for us, and we think it's going to be amazing. I think that the impact that the Hebrew High program will have on our teen community is going to be invaluable. So we are very excited about it and very grateful that Rabbi Funky and Myra Schindler have worked with us to figure this out. We do still have other teen programming here at Temple High, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit more about in the next few minutes, but I wanted to make sure that, because we haven't officially made the announcement that we're not doing Club 89 here next year. Instead, we're doing it on Tuesday nights, and it'll be at the J for our 9th through 12th graders.
I'm going to throw in a logistical piece.
Please do.
In that, what will happen is you will actually register through Hebrew High. I have got flyers in the back. You'll make sure that you register, and upon your registering through Hebrew High, you'll tell us that you're part of Temple High. And so what that ends up doing is that feeds back into the Temple High system. They'll know that you're there, they'll be expecting you, and we'll be able to send information about the pizzas once a month and other things that'll be going through that as well. But that'll be part of the registration. If you do register early, we do have our early bird special, which means that you can even get a discounted rate by signing up before July 15th. And that flyer, again, is in the back. Make sure you get one. So you'll pay your child's tuition, which we always have scholarships. We can make any payment plan that is comfortable for you. But just know that through that registration process, it gets listed that you are a Temple High person, so that we can make sure that they have you listed in their program as well.
Thank you. Yeah. And in addition to that, one of the great things about this program is that the students have electives to choose from. So there are some, Rabbi Siegel in a minute is going to talk about a confirmation program, but rather than, one of the struggles throughout the years has always been to try to figure out what, if we have one class with our teens, what should we focus on? And for some teens, they connect to it, and some teens they don't. And what's amazing about this program is the teens now have opportunities to choose different areas that they want to experiment with and that they want to be a part of. So Rabbi Funky mentioned the dinners. So one of the pieces of moving over to Hebrew High is that we do lose time with our Temple High students because they are part of this larger program and spread out amongst different electives and different classes. So, and that's important to us that we still maintain that connection. So we are doing once a month. Our Temple High teens who are in Hebrew High can come early at 6:15, and we have dinner for them. Either I'll be there, Rabbi Siegel will be there, both of us will be there. It'll be a social time for us to get to know the teens hang out together, you don't have to worry about dinner that night, and that's being sponsored by Rabbi Aviva also for us for this year. So when you get a calendar, we have marked on the calendar the dates that it's once a month, usually towards the end of the month. Temple High teens can come at 6:15 and have some dinner and some social time with us and with each other before classes start. So now let's talk a little bit about 10th grade and confirmation, because that's also going to be part of this Hebrew High program. So I'm going to turn it over to Rabbi Siegel, who is running our confirmation program.
So one of my, well, I've had a lot of favorites this year. One of my favorite things has been spending time with this year's confirmation class, the 10th graders. And what I want to share is that the confirmation experience that we'll have at Hebrew High is for our 10th graders. It'll be during that second session of the 2 classes. So it's that grade level class or Hebrew, that first session, and then in the first semester, you will have the chance still to pick an elective. We didn't want to deprive our 10th graders of the chance to choose an elective based on your interest. First semester, that will be your second class, and the second semester, your second class will be with me for Temple High confirmation. And we're gonna have a couple programs also in the fall, some special times just for our confirmation students outside of the Hebrew High time as well. We're working on the specific details of those, just a couple opportunities to start getting rolling together. And so the second semester, second class will be confirmation class with me. So I'm very much looking forward to that time with our 10th graders in addition to our dinners with all of our students. And in confirmation class, it'll be the same kind of learning that you would have done if you were just sitting with me in my office or in a room here, but we'll be at Hebrew High. And that means that we're gonna have a chance to explore our Jewish identity. What does it mean to us in this moment to be Jewish? What do we imagine that meaning to us in the future in terms of practice, in terms of identity, in terms of our lives? And really taking hold of this moment as our young people are growing in independence, growing in understanding, to establish their own idea of what it means to them to be Jewish in their lives now, what they imagine in the future. We also always follow our students' interests. So one of the things this year that our confirmation class did is there were so many incidents of anti-Semitism and things in the news. We spent some time talking about anti-Semitism and processing anti-Semitism together. So when something happens or based on the interest of the class, we're still going to have this space and time to follow interest as well. And we'll also talk about what does it even mean to be in confirmation? What are we confirming exactly? What are we confirming about being Jewish for us? We also will have a chance to dig into ethical dilemmas, Jewish values, Jewish ethics, ethical dilemmas, real life situations. And so all of that meaningful learning that we had the chance to do in our program as it was this year, we will have the chance to do together during that second class session. We looked at the time, exactly what we're able to achieve, and we think this is going to be a really meaningful, well-used period of time together, and again, a chance for our 10th graders to be together, continue deepening those relationships, and it will conclude with our special confirmation service here at Temple High and that entire experience as well. So what I most want to communicate is A, I'm excited to spend time with our 10th graders and dig in that way, and B, that moving to this partnership with Hebrew High is really a value add. It's not going to take away at all from the special confirmation experience that our students look forward to. It will be through Hebrew High, and I think really elevate the experience because of all the meaningful learning, even beyond what we're able to achieve just together in our program. So I'm happy to answer any questions either now or offline about confirmation, but really looking forward to that time with our students.
You. The 10th graders, usually confirmation students, but not necessarily just 10th graders or just confirmation students. We have our trip to Washington, D.C. this year in February, where our usually 10th graders go and spend the weekend with the Religious Action Center for Reform Judaism in D.C., learning about lobbying and learning about social justice issues, and actually writing speeches and lobbying on lobbying to their representatives and lobbying at Congress on issues that are important to them. So we will be doing some programming leading up to that trip with our confirmation students who we hope will attend. because with COVID, some of these trips have been canceled over the last couple of years, we will be inviting any 11th and 12th graders to join us on Lit Tuck Head who weren't able to do it because of COVID or for whatever reason. But so kind of keep, if you're 10th, 11th, or 12th grade, keep kind of an eye out for that information, which will be coming out July, August, we'll start sending. We do have a date for it, it's at the end of February. So just wanted to throw that out there, and if you have questions about Lit Tuck Head, I'd be happy to answer them for you. Okay, I would like to now introduce Rabbi Scott Siegel, who is an amazing teacher who's going to be working this year with our 8th graders, and I'm thrilled about it. The 8th grade program is not part of Hebrew High program. We are still doing 8th grade here. We are doing it this year as opposed to last year. We experimented a little with Wednesday nights, and it worked well for others. It didn't work so well for others. So we are moving our 8th grade programming back to Sundays this year. So it will be after Sunday school for an hour. For those of you who are Madrakim, you will get lunch, and then you will stay with Rabbi Siegel and do all the fun stuff that the 8th grade class is going to be doing this year. We're meeting twice a month for the most part, and I'm gonna let Rabbi Siegel fill you in on all the exciting things we have planned for that. And if you're ready.
Hi, everybody. Oh, wow, that was loud. So yeah, for those of you who I haven't had a chance to meet yet, I'm Rabbi Scott Siegel. What name I go by is still being workshopped because the other Rabbi Siegel just doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well. And most of the other names that I've been given are inappropriate. So, sometimes in a good way, sometimes less so. So yeah, I'm really excited to teach 8th grade this year, and for a whole bunch of different reasons. One, the topic that we are gonna, by the way, if you are a rising 8th grader, can you raise your hand just so I can kind of see some of y'all who are
They're right there.
there's very limited willingness to raise the hands, I see. That's gonna happen. We'll work on that, that's okay. So there's a lot of reasons that I like teaching 8th grade. One is that, post Bar Mitzvah, y'all are adults in the Jewish world now. And from my perspective, that means that it is an opportunity for us to start teaching and learning some of the topics that maybe you've already explored a little bit, but to start to do so in a little bit more of an adult way, which means exploring some of the complexity, some of the nuance that we're just not able to do as much when you're younger, but that really deepens our understanding of and our connection to Judaism and Jewish thoughts and ideas and life and values. So this year, we're going to start off the year doing comparative Judaism. And I want to share a quick little story about why I think this is an important topic for everyone to explore, but especially for our young people. So when I was in my mid-20s, I guess, I applied for rabbinical school. I was living in California at the time, and so I went to the Los Angeles campus to do my interview. And I got there a day early, and I was walking around Pico Robertson, which, if you're familiar with LA, is a very Jewish area. And I was just walking down the street, and a guy at a synagogue was like, "Hey, excuse me, are you Jewish?" I was like, "Yes." And will you help us make a minyan? I was like, "Sure." So I go in, and now I grew up very active, a very kind of active, committed Jewish person. My family, we did holidays, we did Shabbat. I went to Hebrew High, I did all the stuff that a young Jewish person is supposed to do. And I went to Jewish camp. I spent a year in Israel. I considered myself a pretty knowledgeable Jewish person. And so I go into this congregation and I sit down and they start the service, and in about 8 seconds I was completely lost. I had no idea what was going on. I was like, what is happening here? I don't recognize some of these prayers. There's a lot of mumbling. I was just so confused. And to be honest, I was a little embarrassed because, the next day I was going to interview for rabbinical school, and I'm sitting in this synagogue and I have no clue what's happening. I was like, this should not be. Like, I should know what's going on here. And, it was an Orthodox synagogue, and so it was just a very different kind of experience than what I had growing up, or at any point, really. And so after that, I ended up just kind of on my own doing a little bit of comparative Judaism study, but it really drove home the importance to me of having at least like a solid understanding of kind of the full spectrum of what Judaism is, because it is a broad spectrum, and there's a lot of important differences between Reform and Conservative and Orthodox, and even within Orthodoxy and within each of the movements, there's a very broad spectrum of practices, of ideas, of values, of ethics. And so, at least we're going to start off the year doing a pretty deep dive into the different streams of Judaism, not just like in Orthodoxy, they say this prayer, and in the Reform movement, we use this prayer, but also looking at it from, in terms of values, like how do the different movements view some of the different important issues of our day? What are the sources that they use? Who are the important people that these movements look to provide value, to provide guidance? And so that's where we're going to start. And then the beauty of what we're doing this year is that during that period, during this section of comparative Judaism, it will give me an opportunity to get to know the students better, the students to get to know me better, and for us as a kind of class community to then think about where we want to go from there. Because every class is unique, and the topics or the ways we go about learning that work for one class may completely not work for another. And so that's why I am leaving kind of a little bit more vague period, because it gives us this chance to really work together to decide where we collectively want to go. And when I say we collectively, I mean me and the students and the parents, because for those of you who are 8th grade parents, or know an 8th grade parent, or once were an 8th grade parent, or will be an 8th grade parent, there may be things that you as a parent would like for your kid to learn about, to know about, that, if you try and tell it to them, there is no chance that they're going to hear it or listen to you. If someone else says it, there's a better chance they may hear it. I think all of us have been in those situations before where we can say something to our kid and they ignore it completely. Someone else says something, they're like, oh, that's a great idea. Like, I just told you that. Maybe that's just me, I don't know. But so this is going to give us a chance to really see where we want to go, see where our interests are, see what is exciting and motivating in terms of the learning that we're going to do. And yeah, so I'm excited for it. A couple just quick things about what I hope for in any classroom setting that I teach in. And for those of you who are going to be the 8th graders, I hope you'll take this to heart. I love questions and I hate answers. I think questions are far more important than answers, and so I very much encourage my students, no matter what age, to ask as many questions as possible. I will tell you now, and I will repeat this ad nauseum, there is no question you cannot ask. If your internal monologue is thinking, I shouldn't ask this because it might upset the teacher, no, it won't. The only bad question is the unasked question, and so I will encourage students and parents to ask questions as often as possible, no matter the question. If I don't know how to respond to it in the moment, I will say so, and then I will do my best to find out whatever I need to find out. But part of the way I have found we learn best is by asking questions, interacting, and also just kind of sometimes following those questions wherever they lead us. They may take us far afield, and if that's the case, awesome, because the most important thing is that we are engaged and interested in whatever it is that we're studying. So, I know our time is limited, so I will leave it at that, but if there are any questions, if there are any questions now, happy to answer them, or at least try to answer them.
Trevor, do you have any designs on providing this idea of comparative Judaism, curriculum or conversation, et cetera, to the broader High community?
The short answer is no, but I'm not opposed to that possibility if that's. And I think you may have to speak with the powers that be about that one. I am not a power that be. I am a power that be adjacent, I think. So I'm the wrong person to ask. But I mean, I love teaching pretty much anything Jewish related, so I'm usually not that difficult to hook into these sort of things. Other questions about this? Or I know a lot of y'all don't really know me, and so if you have questions about me personally and kind of my background or whatever, I'm happy to answer those either now or another time. But otherwise, if there are no further questions, comments, or curses, going once, going twice. Okay, thank you all very much, and hopefully I'll see you in the fall.
Thank you very much. So the 8th grade program is meeting twice a month. We're actually not starting our 8th grade program until October because of the way that the holidays are this year. It was a little difficult to schedule our Sundays, and so rather than start the 8th grade program and then wait 5 weeks till we see them again, we are waiting until October this year to officially begin. Sunday school does start in August, so for those of you who are Madripoor, you will still come on Sundays, but the 8th grade program is starting it'll be pretty much every other week, starting in October, from like 12:20, we'll have like 10 or 15 minutes of time for lunch, and then an hour of learning and interacting with the other 8th graders and Rabbi Siegel. Yes.
Is registration the same for
Yes.
8th grade as everyone else?
Registration is the same as for pre-K through 7th grade, 8th grade is the same on the Temple High website. So
Okay.
yes.
So the link you sent,
The-
is that?
The link I sent should have 8th grade on it.
Okay.
If it doesn't yet, it will by an hour from now. So, and I'm also going to, now that we've kind of had this meeting with you, I'm gonna put on our website also the link to sign up your high school students for Hebrew High, which will direct you to the Hebrew High website where you will then fill out the Hebrew High application. There is a section on there where you'll mark that you're a Temple High student, and we'll kind of be in touch with you from there. And I did want to go off something that Rabbi Siegel mentioned about, so one of the great things about our 8th grade program this year is he is very willing to kind of go where the 8th graders want to go. And one of the amazing things that I think is amazing at Hebrew High is Rabbi Funke's ability and desire to want to know what the teens want to do. And as for the teens in here, if there's a class or an opportunity that you would like to see happen through Hebrew High that you don't see on there, Rabbi Funke is so open to creating opportunities for you. So, and if you're an adult and you would, there's something that you think would be beneficial, or you can offer something to the Hebrew High program, feel free to speak with her about that, because we're constantly building a program, and I think
That's a really good point.
Thank you.
On the registration, it's gonna ask what you do, and I'm always looking for chefs, I'm looking for educators, innovators, entrepreneurs, because I think you guys are the ones who can really bring in the most relatable information. So do put that. There's a comment section, share if you have those particular ideas, but students, Amanda is right. Your insight brings our classes. Last year we had a bunch of kids who said they love sports. We created a sports class, right? Mensch on the court, Jewish values while we played basketball and did weight training. So it's really about who you are and how you show up with your voice, so that we can build programs that really are for you. And it's not just sitting in a classroom listening to someone chat. That's not.
Unless you like that.
Okay.
Then maybe.
That's right, yeah.
You're right.
Amanda, are the 8th graders going to be available to do the monthly mitzvah as well? Okay,
Yes.
great.
And yeah.
Times will vary on that, so we'll.
Yep, and we'll get all that information out as it becomes more available. Okay, I do want to move on now. We have our Madrahim program, which we're going to spend a couple minutes talking about, and then I'll have a little bit of information on our youth group, and then take questions, or if you want to talk to the individual teachers or administrators, I'd be happy to do that. And there are seats up front. I don't know how comfortable the floor is back there, but if you would like to come an actual seat, you guys are welcome to. So I would like now to introduce Coach Zach, who is not only our Maccabia coach on Sundays and helping to coordinate our retreats this year, but is also the fearless leader of our Madrahim program, which has grown in leaps and bounds under his leadership over the past 2 years. So I know some of you are already heavily involved in that program, and we want to give you kind of some updates on where that's going, and for those of you who aren't involved, let you know what's happening there also. So, Coach Zach.
All right, well, if there's anything, like anything that shows my commitment to this temple, it is a day where the Dodgers were on at 11:15. It's Kershaw Day, and I am here. I love this place. Wouldn't do it if I didn't. So, little bit just about me. I am Coach Zach. That's what the kids call me anyway. You guys don't have to call me Coach Zach. But I've been on the Temple High staff for 8 years, currently serving in these 3 roles as the Madrahim supervisor, the retreat coordinator, and the Maccabia coach. Love all 3 of them, but the Madrahim program, of course, has a very, very, very important role in my life, just because it kind of started out as an opportunity to just keep working with kids that I'd worked with before, and we've grown it into something really, really, really awesome. I've loved talking to some of the parents and students that are here this morning, just kind of about how much we love this program and want it to succeed. So, like, what is it? Like, for those of you who are here who have no idea. So, our 8th through 12th grade students will help teachers with different day-to-day tasks. They can be running different activities. Like, I've got Madrahim who help me on the sports field. We've got Madrahim who help with our Tarbut culture STEAM type thing. We've got Madrahim who are in our Dungeons and Dragons Yalla program track, or who help in classrooms. They'll help teachers with setup, prep, sometimes, and by sometimes I mean they always do playground monitoring. We have 1 or 2 Madrahim who do office assistants. Chai Cafe is an option. Like, sky's the limit on what Madrahim can do. So like I said, there's different roles that Madrahim do. So there's helping with the Yalla program. We currently offer 3 tracks. That's the Maccabia track, which is sports, the Tarbut track, which is like art, culture, STEAM, those types of things. And then we've got our, what's the Dungeons and Dragons called? Yitzira, which is a Dungeons and Dragons self-guided thing. We have 2 awesome Madrahim who help with that. There's also people who do Hebrew class support, so some of our Madrahim will be in a Hebrew class with either Mrs. Isaacson or Maura Orit, or anybody who's doing Hebrew. Maury Dillon does some Hebrew stuff, of course. But also, like, if you're not like super into working with the kids, that's fine. You can help us be an office assistant. We are adding a photographer Madrahim position this year. So, like, if you just really love Instagram and like taking Instagram-worthy pictures and the filters and whatever, I don't know anything about Instagram, but I'm still a Facebook person. Apparently, that makes me old. That's what the middle schoolers tell me. That we are entertaining the idea of adding a babysitting room this year, where we sent out a survey to parents about whether or not they can benefit from that. But if we go ahead and do that, we'll need 2 or 3 Madrahim who will be in charge of that room with me and Amanda's supervision. There's floater Madrahim, so maybe you like doing different things constantly, that's fine. You show up, we'll put you wherever wherever you're needed for that day. We have a very specific, very special mentor program for Madrahim. So once Madrahim get to be in 11th or 12th grade, they have an opportunity to mentor 8th graders or just other new Madrahim, do observations, give them feedback, things like that. Madrahim have a chance to staff different retreats. And obviously, like, if you have another idea for an activity, like when I met with the 7th graders, there were 2 girls who were like, we love Israeli dancing. And I said, I know nothing about that, but sure, you can do that. Technology. Okay, so throughout the year, Madrahim also plan our school-wide programming. They're called Madrahim Ruach Days. And here's just a picture of one of our Madrahim running one of those events. And so the Madrachim actually meet after religious school, they plan the event, they sit down, they plan the whole event, and then they run the event. It says with support from me, but they actually usually don't need any of it because they're that good. Like the Madrachim are that good that they know exactly what to do, and that's how we train them. And then just kind of to touch on some of the retreat opportunities. This year, Amanda and I have decided that we would like to do a Madrachim retreat over Labor Day weekend. So an opportunity for Madrachim to either do something here or maybe even get out of town, go to Prescott or something, and just hang out for a night, do some bonding activities, and also just hang out and get to know each other, because that's really what it's about to me, is everybody getting to know each other and, you know, establishing good friendships. But also our 8th through 12th graders get to help with the 3rd and 4th grade Shabbaton, and our 9th through 12th graders have an opportunity to help at the youth retreat, which, with all luck, will be at Camp Stein this year. So, like, that's the goal, like, that's the dream. So, just a few benefits of the Madrachim program. Don't I look beautiful here? Anyway, a few benefits of the Madrachim program. This is a paid job. So for some of our teens, this is their very first paid job. I don't pay a lot, but I do pay. And so, you know, just a chance to understand what it's like to wake up in the morning, show up to work, and get paid twice a year. Or you can do it for volunteer hours. Some of our 8th graders are required to do volunteer hours for social studies if they're in the PV district, and so they'll do it for volunteer hours. You have a chance to be a role model for our kids. Like, our students probably love their Madrachim more than they love their religious school teachers. Like, they come and, like, I'll bring them out to the sports field, and honestly, like, the kids will, like, not say hi to me, but they'll run up to our Madrachim and they'll give them hugs and they'll be so excited, and I'll be like, hi guys, it's fine. But also making new friends. We've seen 12th graders become super close with 8th graders in this program. We've seen people who maybe they went to Hebrew school together and didn't really know each other very well, and then like they started hanging out like outside of it, like they established these friendships. And that's really what it's about for me. Like, obviously the work is important and I'm gonna tell them this is what you need to do, but really it's all secondary when you think about the bonds that they make. That's what's important to me. So of course now some of you are like, how do I do this? How do I get involved? Well, here's the application process. Applications for new and returning Madrachim will be emailed out to parents The good news is I'm probably louder without the mic. Those of you who ever had me as a teacher are like, yeah, that's true about him. So applications for new and returning Madrachim will come out during the last week of July, which from a lot of us is when you're coming back to school, which is weird, but we'll get into it. Then students will do Zoom interviews with me over the first couple weeks of August. It's an easy interview, but there are questions that I gotta do to be able to understand where do you fit in with all this. After interviews, I will then pair Madrachim with either a teacher or a grade level or a program. And then we'll do our Madrachim training on August 13th, and that's where they're gonna get all the information and do some scenarios and those types of things just so that they're prepared for the role. So do you guys have any questions for me? This would be the time. Yes?
Okay, this probably only applies to me. I have a kiddo who will be at camp until the second week of August. So how does the application work for him?
He can do it when he gets back from camp.
All right.
Yeah, no problem. Max?
So because of the strange day that the school year is beginning, is that altering the days of everything else regarding the Madrachim program?
Well, so I think the application actually went out last week of July last year too, and I think interviews happened first 2 weeks of August last year, so probably not is the short answer.
Like after school hours?
Yeah, oh yeah, I work full-time during the week. I'm actually making a transition to go work in elementary school. Pray for me, it's new. But it's gonna be I'm not available for interviews until after 3:45 myself, so yeah, it'll be after school hours. Good question, Max. Are there any other questions? Yeah, Bree.
The Madrachim retreat, is it gonna be at Camp Stein or at Somewhere here.
So it'll either be here, or like we were talking about finding like a big Airbnb in Prescott or something like that.
You said Prescott, and I was like, Campstown?
So I don't think that we can justify paying the amount of money we have to pay to Camp Stein for just the Madrachim.
We love you.
Rabbi Siegel and the board will have a lot of questions for you for that.
And the Madrachim retreat will be, we pay you to work as Madrachim, but you will have to pay to join us on the retreat. So I just wanted, and you'll get all that information as we figure out the details for that. So it is optional, it won't be required of everyone who gets hired as a Madrich or Madricha, but we hope it'll be something fun.
But ask yourself, do you want to be the one that doesn't know all the inside jokes the next Sunday? Anyway. All right, great questions. Any other questions for me? Yes?
Does everyone get hired?
Yes.
So far.
Usually I don't say that until the interview,
Sorry.
but like, it was, there was a kid that I don't remember who it was one of the 8th graders last year, like got on and they like looked super nervous, and I started adding it to my repertoire where I say the words, just so you know you already have the job. Yes. Except for Elaine, I'm just kidding. All right, any other questions?
Are the hours of Sunday school stay the same next year?
Yes. All right, great questions. Well, it's so great. You guys saved all your questions for the end today. That's so nice. All right, any other questions? All right, so this is how you contact me, and yes, this is my cell phone number, and yes, I will probably regret it, but you guys can have it. And my Temple High email address, which for some reason they give me, I don't know. So this is how you reach me. I am very, very, very easily accessible. Ask any of the Madrachim. I am very quick to respond to things because I need to be. I don't know what I'll do without Maya this year, reminding me to send the email every week, but that's something to deal with later. So anyway, so that's how you contact me if you want to take a picture of that or something like that. And that is literally all I have. Peace and blessings.
And not as loud as Zach, so. All right, thank you, Coach Zach. I wanted to quickly let you know that we are, as you probably have heard, we are looking for a new a youth group advisor, which is a position that we haven't had here for a few years, and it's going to be, we're hiring someone who's exclusively going to be working with our 3 different youth groups, which Coach Zach and she really reinvigorated this past year. We have our TICTI Mini, which is 3rd through 5th grade. We have TICTI, and TICTI is TCTY, which stands for Temple High Temple Youth. We have our TICTI Junior is going to be 6th through 8th grade, and then we have our high school youth group, which is just TICTI, and that's 9th through 12th grade. So we have some wonderful candidates who we're talking with and really want to find the right person for this role. So you will be getting more information. We are doing youth group next year, and we're excited about how that's going to roll out when we have this new person hired. So more information on that will be available as that unfolds. In the back of the room, along with the Hebrew High information, there's a kind of confusing, that I tried not to make confusing, but it might be, calendar for our 8th through, so this is pretty much all the information for 8th through 12th grade. It's color coded. The trickiest part is that you can only put one color on a Sunday, so some Sundays are Madrachim and 8th grade, some Sundays are just Madrachim, so if you have questions, if you're looking over it, let me know. And then on the back, it has the tuition for each grade level, as well as I did dates by group. So if you just want to know the dates for 8th grade, rather than looking at the calendar, you can just look at that. Also on there's marked the days that we're doing dinners with our high school students at Hebrew High, as well as some of the overnight things that are on there, and the date for confirmation service ceremony. So, I think that is all. Anything else? Okay, so everybody will be available if you have specific questions. We would love our teams to be involved in every aspect, in the Hebrew High, in the Madrachim, in TICTI, if you choose the one that's right for you, that works for you this year, and we will be here if you have questions. All the information will be on the website, and that's where also you can go to register. So, thank you for spending time with us on this Sunday morning.